in a very lukewarm or cold this thing, use it on your eyes, which is or water from the what we sometimes do that if you have clean yogurt, Chavanprash, you can
Yeah, very good.
definitely, yeah,
Pancake, you're right on.
I
Product
will let
placement.
you a home remedy. It is a this you filter the yogurt, so you will get the water from the yogurt. Put
Yeah.
a little bit sugar and honey. It should be fresh and uh, kept in a good condition, and that can be applied for the eyes, and that also helps in soothing the eyes. So these are certain tips I was just discussing.
Thank you very much.
That's wonderful.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yeah,
And I think
Hello, bro.
Dr.
Hello,
S,
Dr. Saggu. Welcome to
yeah.
our show today. Good to see you both. So we
think
were
the-
just talking about how to boost our immune system with the various herbs and
Yeah,
spices.
these are certain preventive aspects that we were
Right,
discussing.
prevention.
Uh, so, and boosting up our immune system. And of course, earlier thing, basically for immune system, you have to, you should have a good nutritious diet, and your mind should be tension free. Then you should have exercises, regular walking and all. Then only immune and your metabolism should be kept very vibrant. Then naturally your immune system also will be more boosted up. And medicines comes only next to this one. So this is very important in keeping our life. And bad thoughts, definitely, because I think that everybody now, it's a right time for the world to think about positive thoughts, because the world has become a rat race everywhere, including the, and we, our education system has also become like that. What is more important is power and money, nothing else. No moral values, nothing is given importance. And even in the schools, colleges, earlier we used to learn ethics, but no ethics. Now ethics has
Yes.
gone to very slowly. It was taken away from the syllabus. You are only thinking about how to make money, how to grab power, how to control people. Even in the management schools are also that was the so the basic value what we are the human beings are money. So we are losing our next. I am actually very much concerned. I'm opening up my mind very honestly, very sincerely. Our next generation, we are getting age. Next generation, if you don't teach them the values of because it's a global village, whether you are an American, Indian, or African. No, because I liked the Vice President candidate Kamala Harris speech last. This thing she was telling that we should have a this thing
Family
not
values.
tolerant. We should love everybody, because that kind of attitude we should develop in our own children. Then only the world will be a place where we can live safely. Otherwise, we are ruining our own next generation
Yes.
because in America only in Rock Garden in Tennessee, when I visited Rock Garden, in the entrance there was a saying that you have to live in this world as if you have borrowed it from your next generation, not as if you have received it from your ancestors. What a beautiful and this, because this is very true, because earlier people were living without exploiting the prakriti or the nature. We take whatever we want and preserve it for the next generation. The water we keep without pollution, the air we keep without pollution, all the rivers, all the resources, all the natural resources we maintain for the next generation. But
Yes.
we have started exploiting it only, and that only for our own purpose. Human beings, we are least bothered about other creatures in the planet. And now we are facing the problem. Mother Earth cannot be tolerant always. She will
Yes,
hit
So that's
back.
very well said by
we're
Yeah,
the
that's very
virus.
well said by
natural
Ramesh.
calamities.
And it's
Now
time to
ice is melting in the poles. We don't know.
Yeah.
So all these are human creation.
Well, Dr.
So
Saggu, aren't you a living example of having prepared your immune system so that when the virus did attack you, you had mild symptoms and survived
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. So what were the things that you were doing? I know you were doing turmeric. Were you doing
yeah,
cinnamon and
yeah.
clove?
These are the things I told you. Whatever I am
Yeah.
doing, I have explained to you. And
Yes.
then, of course, social distancing, exposure, cleanliness, such things
Yes.
you have to, and drink water because viruses usually passes through urine. So you have to. Many a time, what happens is that in rainy season and winter season, we tend to drink less water. So drink sufficient quantity of water so that you will urinate and a lot of virus. So we are trying. We are sometimes we may not be able to completely avoid the viral attack because we are living among them. So many contaminations, so many community spreads are there. But if you are successful in maintaining your immunity and maintaining the viral load, so the attack will be mild and you will and so many in India you can see that in so many areas death rates are very less and the recovery rates especially in Kerala the recovery rate is very good. Elderly people are also recovering well. Maybe the our earlier exposure to these kind of infections may be one reason. Another thing that many people are aware about what I was discussing because they are ancestrally doing so many things. Now, so many phone calls I am getting. I was practicing in Delhi, from Delhi also, from all over my because patients call and they start taking medicines. I'm not talking about prepared medicines. I'm talking about natural medicine which is available in our kitchen, the herbs we find around us. This has a potential to help us. So that we have to recognize, we have to realize that, utilize all. This is in a
That's very well
nutshell.
said. That's very well said by Dr. Ramesh, and it's time to introduce to all our panelists, to our viewers, basically. So, and I think Sharif needs to go to bed now. Thank you, Sharif, for joining us today, and have a good
Okay.
night. And we'll see you tomorrow on Sharif School of Economics at 5 a.m. EST, and it's 2 a.m. for Jim, and then it starts at 2:30 IST India time and 5 p.m. Malaysian time. Only on IBM
Yes.
TV, Sharif School of Economics. So do join us on that show.
So yeah, anybody want to join in this shows, they can join. Hopefully, it will be very interesting session. Thank you.
You don't
Thank
want
you.
them to see me at 2 a.m. though.
So maybe so Jim, maybe you can join a repeat telecast.
I can join you what?
You can join a repeat telecast of Sharif School of Economics.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Goodbye, Sharif.
Yeah, bye bye.
And I would like to introduce to all my panelists one more time. So we have Jimate joining us from California, and he does Chef Without Borders on IBM TV, and he's part of our family on IBM TV. We have Sasha Star, and also known as Alexander Star from Canada, Toronto. He does multiple shows on IBM TV, starting with Test starts on Saturday, and we are coming up with the World Championship on 29th August. Is that so, Sasha? On 29th
Yes.
August, we have a World Championship going on Chess Stars.
Yeah, on August 29th, it's
Yeah.
following Saturday, we're going to have a contest between grandmasters Suat Amalik from Turkey and Mikhail Marin from Romania. They never played before, so it will be very interesting contest. We have cash prizes for winners and commentaries. Hopefully, Yasser Serawan will be able to provide commentaries. So it will be quite interesting event. We'll see.
And then apart from chess show, Sasha also does the Wednesday show with us, Modern Investing with Sasha. And if someone wants to invest in some stock, Sasha will definitely help you out to get some liquidity going on. And that's with Sasha. And then we have Dr. Ramesh joining us from Kerala. and he's an Ayurveda specialist, and we discuss about immunities and all those stuff. How Ayurveda can be a life changer and a lifestyle in future. It's there in the past as well, but still a lot of people started following during the pandemic. So that's Dr. Ramesh's views on Ayurveda. We have Dr. Saggu joining us from Delhi, and he's a bariatric surgeon, and he's a part of our family on IBM TV. He does the show on Saturdays, talk show with Dr. Saggu, and we're talking from diabetes to cancer to bariatric to everything. I mean, so you can ask anything. Dr. Saggu will definitely come out and respond. And Dr. Saggu is also one of the few doctors in the world who also gave the plasma donation during the COVID, because he suffered from COVID and then he thought of donating the plasma as well. So we'll discuss about that. And then we have our own brother from Nigeria, Michael. He does our show Mind Clothed 101 on Friday at 6:30 India time, 9 a.m. EST, and 3 p.m. Nigerian time. And that's an amazing show produced from Nigeria. So that's for the panelists we have. We'll start with Dr. Saggu. So, sir, what's going on? And we are still seeing the rise in the cases in India. What are the thoughts, and are we on the right track at this point of time?
Yeah, before going to that part, I was listening to Dr. Ramesh also, and he nicely said about the immunity boosters and some sort of supplements and some sort of, the good practices which we should be following to boost up immunity. And I always say that, by boosting your immunity, you cannot prevent the infection to occur, but yes, you can decrease the impact of the infection, you can decrease the impact of the virus. And it is always said that in spite of controlling the others, if you can control yourself, your inside, your outside, and if you can, stop yourself from spoiling the natural resources, I think we are not going to have some natural calamities, and definitely the world would be good as a global village for us. As far as the India is concerned, yes, India is on the rising path. We have a lot of patients. Now the number of the patients, they are increasing, but the recovery is good because so many reasons are there behind. Even Dr. Ramesh mentioned few of the reasons. So I would like to say the number one reason is that in India we have our culture. In our culture, we have a joint families. So all our elders, they are living with us. So the elders, they are not living in older homes in the care houses. So if we keep all the elders in one house, the chances of infection is more. When the elders are living with the youngers, definitely their immunity is also on the higher side. The infection to all those elders who are living with the youngers is less. Plus, if they got infected, they can be recovered very nicely if they're living with the youngers. So we are taking care of them nicely. Number two, we are already prone to a lot of infections, whether it is a tuberculosis, whether it is a chikungunya, or all type of viruses we have experienced of the viruses, and we have already won against a lot of viruses. So that may be the reason that immunity against these infectious diseases higher in case of the Indian, or in cases of the Asian people. Number three, we believe in nature. Everybody believe in the nature, but maybe in the Asian subcontinent, we more believe in the nature, and we can say we are more near to the nature. So that is why the infection rate is slightly in the younger group, not in the elder group. And if the infection is in the younger group, definitely the recovery is more, and because the youngers have good immunity and they can fight back regarding this virus very nicely. So infection definitely will go, because it's already community spread in India, and infection will go on. You will see the lots of number, and even the numbers which we are seeing. I always say that the number which you have at present, that is around 2 weeks older. Yeah. So it is not today's number, because around 60-70% people, they are not getting the test done. They are already they are home quarantine, and during the home quarantine, they are taking care of everything as they're under isolation. They're not getting the test done. And even the test capacity is also not that much high so that we can test the huge population in India. So this number, they are, you can say, these are the number of the test positive patients, but these are not the number of the COVID patients. So the COVID patients may be more. So yeah. We should not be scared of, afraid of, we should not be thinking of the total number of the infected patients, but we should be thinking of the total number of the severely sick patients who have a severe complication, those who are admitted in the hospital, those who are admitted in the intensive care units, those with the other comorbid condition like diabetes, like hypertension, obstructive sleep apnea, and other conditions, because the chronic kidney disease, because those are the people who needs more care, and those are the people who have low immunity. Those are the people who need to be observed very nicely, even if they are not having the infection. So the basic criteria is to focus on those people who are have more vulnerable to have infection. So if we can, so we always say, earlier we were saying that we should follow this type of measures, social distancing, the hand hygiene, everything. Yes, we did everything. I being a healthcare worker, I always, I mean, in the back of the mind, I was thinking that one day I'm going to have a COVID, because I cannot escape myself from the COVID, because I'm in the ocean of the COVID. When we are seeing a lot of patients, 50, 60, or
Yeah.
100 patients on the daily basis. So we are already living in the ocean of the COVID. How can we spare ourselves from the COVID? But at least what is in your hand? In your hand is boost up your immunity and let the impact of the virus should be on the lower side. So that was my planning since January and February. I was doing all those things, all those good practices, we can say. Maybe I was not. I was also not following the good practices earlier. So we started in January and February. The regular supplementation is very, very good. B1, B6, and B12. Then vitamin C, vitamin E is very good. I was taking the turmeric is very good. I was taking the ginger. I was taking the basil leaves. So all these three combination of all three things, they are very good. Plus good exercise. If you can do exercise, yoga, meditation, anything for at least 1 to 1.5 hours daily, I think you can double up your immunity. So all these best practices, if you can follow, definitely you can lose your weight, you can reduce your obesity, plus you can increase your immunity. So I always say that the 5 points of boosting your immunity in this COVID crisis. Number one, your diet has to be very good. Focus on your diet. Low carb diet, high liquid diet, high fiber diet, low fat diet, and high protein diet. So diet has to be very good. Number two, should do exercise or any sort of physical activity. That is very important. Number three is alcohol and tobacco. If you're taking, then you should be avoiding all these things. You have to decrease your alcohol, decrease your tobacco. Then you have to manage your stress level. You have to decrease your stress, because if the stress is on the higher side, definitely you're going to have a low immunity, because the stress will eat your immunity. When the stress will eat your immunity, then you will not be having that much of immunity that can fight with the virus. The last is sleep. I would not say it's the last, it's the first and the most important thing in our life. The most important in our life is the sleep. You should not having only the good duration sleep, but good quality sleep also. The quality of the sleep has to be very good. And for the good quality of the sleep, again, you have to follow a lot of measures, that before going to sleep, at least for 2 hours, you should not be having multiple thoughts. Your brain has to be at the peace level. Decrease your carbohydrate contents before going to sleep. And at least if you cannot decrease the carbohydrate content, then you should decrease the simple sugars at night, because of what the simple sugars says. Simple sugars, they digested very early, and they causes increase in the insulin surge, and that will cause the hypoglycemia. And once you will take the simple sugar at night, you must have experienced about that. You eat a chocolate at night, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, you will be hungry, because there is an increased insulin surge that will cause the hypoglycemia, and you will feel hungry. So in spite of that, if you take the complex sugars, that which digested very, very slowly, so that will make a plateau level during your sleep at night, and till 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, this complex sugar will give you the proportionate level of the energy in the night, and then you will not have you will not feel hungry at night. And another thing, I mean, please do less activities before going to sleep. Calm your brain, do some meditation, do some prayers, thank God for everything, whatever you have done. So because going to sleep is like going from your life. The end of the day is the end of your life. You just thank for the things which has happened during the day, because I don't know whether I'm going to wake in the morning or not. So you should be thankful to the God. Make your brain very peaceful so that you have a good sleep. And in the morning, with the sunrise, again you will be fresh.
That's very well said by Dr. Saggu. And also, sir, we would like to know about the vaccine which is released from Russia. And is there any news about vaccine in India?
Yeah, there is a good news that lot of vaccine candidate has been approved by the WHO. Around 30 candidates, they have already been completed their clinical trials, and now they have now they're in the last phase. You can the final or advanced clinical trials, that is the international patient trials, and around 120 candidates are there who are in the preclinical trials. So they are going to start the clinical trials. But the good news is, among all these, the top 30 vaccines, I think India has three vaccine out of all three. Two have the local made vaccine. One is by the Bharat Biotech, that is a Covaxin, and second is by the Zydus, that is a Zydcova. So these two vaccines, they are locally made here. They completed around two phases of the clinical trials. Now they have entered into the advanced clinical trials. And the third one is from the University of Oxford, and that also being made by the University of Oxford. But now for those vaccines, the ICMR had started some clinical trials at three places in India also. And one of that is the Post Graduate Institute in Chandigarh. So we have started the clinical trials, advanced clinical trials for all these three vaccines, and around 17 centers have been selected, and around 1,500 of the volunteers has already been selected for the advanced clinical trials in India. So I think everybody, I mean, this is a global village. Every country is going to start or going to do the things on the betterment for the virus. So everybody is, they are doing their full effort. They're putting their full efforts to develop some vaccines so that we can decrease the impact of the virus. But nobody knows how would effective this vaccine would be, because the vaccine means it should be safe and it should be effective. The safety measures already been completed for all these 150 candidates, but the clinical trials phase 1 and phase 2 has been completed for the 30 vaccines, and now the advanced clinical trial has already started for these 30 vaccines, and out of these 30, the three candidates, they are from India. So I think at the end of this year, we can have a good news regarding the vaccine.
And also, sir, there was a news yesterday on the media that Russian are interested to tie up or do an alliance with India regarding their vaccination production. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, I think I have heard about that. That some Russian companies, they are trying to tie up with the Indian companies. But yes, I mean, so wherever it would be, maybe from Russia, maybe from British, maybe from US, Australia, China, Wuhan, Beijing, from anywhere. If we can get a vaccine, that would be a good idea for our older people, for our comorbid people, for our vulnerable group of the people, so that at least we can save them from having infection, or if there is infection, that we can fight with that virus.
Dr. Saggu, we have, if we develop an effective vaccine, and that's an if still, it certainly should be administered to anybody that's in crisis. But because it is a novel virus, we simply have not had the time to do long-term studies. So we cannot be completely confident that the side effects or some other impact of taking the vaccine might surface later. So we're still in a danger zone even when we do our clinical trials.
Yeah. So at least we should complete our clinical trials, because the safety trials has already been completed for all. I mean, they are safe. But regarding the effectiveness, efficacy, the clinical trials, they are going on. Maybe we have not received the result of the clinical trial phase 1 and 2. So I think within 1 month span, we'll get the result for the phase 1 and phase 2. And advanced clinical trials has already been started. So once the results of the phase 1 and phase 2 will come out, and the result of the advanced trial will come out, definitely there would be, large scale of production of these vaccines would be there, and I think we can benefit. But again, the fingers are crossed. We don't know the efficacy of this. This may be effective. This may be effective for 15 days, for 1 month, for 2 months, 3 months, we don't know.
Yeah.
Even for the natural infection, because I already had the COVID and then I donated plasma also. I'm doing it right now also. So I have antibodies, but I don't know whether, I had a large viral load. And because of the large viral load, the amount of the antibodies is also on the higher side. So even after the natural infection, your antibodies can wane off within 2 or 3 months, which the studies has already been done on that. And they say these antibodies are only for the 2 or 3 months. So when we are talking about the vaccine, there is only few inactivated viruses or few part of your protein or few part of mRNA or the DNA. So how effective they would be, I don't know. How long their antibody will stay in the body, we don't know.
But my question was to you. You said that the safety trials have been done, but if the long-term effects are, say, minor damage to my liver, if this vaccine causes that, you haven't been able to detect that in these early trials.
Yeah.
So these long-term consequences of my damage to my internal organs may not be evident in a short-term study of the safety effects.
Yes. So we can say, Jim, like that because we have an experience of the vaccine in the past. We have already been given a lot of vaccines where even the live viruses, live bacteria are there. We are injecting for DPT and all those vaccines. And even we developed some type of serums, horse serum for venom, for snake bite and all. So all those, the serums and all those vaccines we are giving since ages, and we have not seen any type of the side effect after that. But same way we can say that about, because what we are giving the some part of the protein of that virus, or we are giving some inactivated virus, or we are giving DNA or RNA. So I don't think there would be any problem. But yes, after the long term, we cannot say whether it would be safe or not, if they are going to damage your liver or something, that we cannot comment upon.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And sir, also there was a news in the media. I read about in the international media is that if the vaccine is trialed to the black community, they are having some kind of side effects and infection as compared to the other communities. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
So the question is that in the international media there was a news that if they are applying vaccines, the COVID vaccine to the black community, they are having some kind of side effect, which is not being seen in the other community. So there is some kind of thing reaction to the black community. So what do you?
Yeah. That is why, Ankit, the trials has been designed like that only. There are 3 phases of the trial. One is the pre-clinical, then the clinical trial. They have 3 phases. The phase 1 is for the domestic patients. Phase 2 starts with the international, and phase 3 starts all over the globe. So before we try on the international patients, the manufacturer of the Indian vaccine, they are trying in the US, they are trying in Australia, and maybe England, or maybe in China also. So after we complete all phases of trials, then we complete each and every community. After completing the trials on the each and every community, then only we say that this vaccine is safe or effective. But now, for that we need a lot of time. But now, because of the emergency, even the phase 1, phase 2, they completed in a short span because of the emergency. So even we are completing all the communities, but even then we can escape some of the community, and there may be some sort of experiences in other communities also. Yeah, that's true. That can happen.
Yes.
So, sir, a general citizen like me, we are concerned about a couple of things. Firstly, that what are the side effects? How we can overcome those side effects. Secondly, what are the long-term consequences after taking the vaccine? And thirdly, we have read that there are multiple mutations going around the world right now. So there are like mutations, which is Indian mutation as compared to a Malaysian or an American or an Australian or an African mutation. Would that one vaccine be, able to sort out all those things? And also, if I'm traveling to Africa, maybe next year, do I have to take a medicine or do I have to take a vaccine before I go to Africa? So there are a lot of questions for a general audience to understand how they think that they will get back to normal after taking all those vaccines.
So, before answering to your question, I would like to say this is COVID pandemic. This is not an endemic in one country, right?
Right.
And this happens first time. This is a pandemic. It means the virus is spread all over the world, all over the globe at the same time. So if I talk about some sort of complications or some sort of side effect of the vaccines, yes, there are acute complications for the vaccine, and there's the chronic complication of the vaccine. In acute, whenever we inject any vaccine, there may be, because the vaccine is an antigen which is being injected inside the body, and then there is a development of the antibodies against that antigen. So this is the principle of any type of vaccine which is antigen based. And the other is the serum based vaccines, which are the serums basically. They already contain the antibodies against the particular virus. That is the convalescent plasma therapy is the same type of example, or horror serum against the snake bite is also that kind of example. And you can say the tetanus serum is also that type of the example, where the antibodies are ready-made antibodies, they are being injected into the patient. So in any type of the vaccine, that will increase your immunity, right? So if we put an antigen, that will develop the antibodies, right? So that will increase your immunity. The immunity, it is a you can say it is like a sword. So this is dangerous also immunity, and this is saver also. So because of that only, if we talk about the COVID, when the virus enters into the epithelial cells, they replicate in the epithelial cells, then they start destroying the epithelial cell, then the alveoli of the lungs, it is going to damage. How it will damage? Because initially there is a decrease in immunity, and in the stage 3 or in the severe complication, there is an increased surge of your immunity. So then the body cannot understand whether the body is making antibodies against its own tissues. So then the antibodies are being developed in the body against our own lung tissues. So that is why those antibodies, they are going to destroy that lungs, and this is the severe complication of COVID. So increase of the immunity is also very dangerous. The same thing happened in the vaccine. When the vaccine is being injected, it will increase the immunity. If there is an acute increase in the immunity, there can be allergic reaction. There may be anaphylaxis. There may be anaphylaxis shock. There may be allergy all over the body. So these are the acute infections. In the chronic infections, the immunity can go down also. Then you are prone to have more infections. So, complication is there for everything. Whatever we eat,
That's true.
we drink water. The water also has a complication. If the water will go into the trachea and the windpipe, you will have a problem. Even you may die. So everything has a complication. Everything has a side effect. Whatever we eat food. If we don't eat the right food, there is a problem. If we eat right food, then there is also a problem. So side effects are there for everything. Nothing is escaped from the side effects.
I agree.
Yeah. And now that your third question is that there may be mutations. So here I would like to comment upon the vaccines. They are developed. 30 vaccines we are talking about. From out of these 30 vaccines, some are based on inactivated virus. The whole virus that is inactivated is injected, and we are getting antibodies against that virus. Some vaccines, they are based on a part of the protein. This COVID virus has two types of the protein. One protein is the spike protein, which is at the corona part. These are spikes that is outside the cell. Another is the protein inside the nucleus. That is mRNA, RNA. That is a RNA based, because single-celled RNA. So that is the RNA and the protein inside the nucleus, right?
Yes.
So what happens in mutation? The mutation occurs only in the RNA, right? Then from the RNA, DNA is formed, and from the DNA, there's a replication of DNA, and then the virus, 1 virus, 2 virus, 3 virus, then there is an increased number of the virus inside. So this is replication of the virus inside the body. So if we have a vaccine against the mRNA, if the vaccine is based on the RNA,
Yes.
we've taken the part of the RNA of the virus and we are injecting that RNA, then the antibodies are being developed against that RNA. So they are very specific for the RNA. So if mutations occurs, then there would be altered sequence of that RNA. So one vaccine which was there for RNA X will not be effective against the RNA Y, which has already mutated. So that type of vaccine will not be good for if there is any mutation occur in the COVID. But some vaccines, they are based on spike protein. So there is a part of the spike protein is being injected, and we are getting antibodies against that. There is no mutation cannot happen in spike protein. So that vaccine would be effective even if the virus is mutated. So all those vaccines which are based on the spike protein, they would be effective against all non-mutated or mutated virus, but the vaccine based on the RNA would not be effective against the mutated RNA virus.
That's so interesting, Dr. Saggu, because I had it exactly backwards in my mind, that the spike proteins could mutate. And so that was why viruses or variations of it could be not effective in one vaccine and effective in another. And I thought that the solution was an RNA vaccine. And what you just described is exactly the opposite of what I was thinking. The RNA, I thought was, one solution if it attacked the RNA, and these other solutions of trying to attack the protein spikes were doomed to being ineffective. But what you just said is that proteins cannot mutate.
Yes. Yeah. Protein cannot mutate, only RNA can mutate. RNA-based vaccine may be more effective because they are specific for the RNA, but that would not be effective against a mutated virus.
Right.
Spike protein, because it is a non-specific, it may be less effective against the virus, but it would be more effective against a mutated virus.
Well, this is why we do IBM TV, because my consciousness has just been raised, because I had it clearly in my mind the exact opposite of what you're just telling me.
Yeah.
So I'm an N of one, not that much, but I hope other people are listening and learning from you as I am.
Definitely. People around the world are watching IBM TV and everyone is learning. I think Dr. Ramesh wants to say something before Dr. Ramesh.
No, I just want to take leave now with your permission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your help with
Thank
my.
you, Dr. Saggu sir, because it was very informative, your discussion.
Yeah.
A lot of enlightenment about vaccines.
Yeah, you are most welcome, Dr. Ramesh. I heard you, and it was very good tips which you have given for the immunity booster. I think that would be personally that would benefit me.
Yeah. Thank
Dr.
you.
Ramesh, before you go, how effective is this Chyawanprash for our viewers?
No, Chyawanprash is a general medicine,
It's
of
too
course,
hard for me
people
to
who
write
have
down all that.
diabetes,
CHY.
it may not suit because it contains jaggery. Good.
Yeah.
Good SC. So people who don't have any other complications, it is a very good medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to send it to Sasha and to Jim and to all my family in outside India.
People who have good digestion, good non-diabetic. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's a good warning.
Ankit, yeah, I will take your leave now. Ankit, Jim, then Sasha, Dr. Ramesh, and hope to see you tomorrow in our show, that is a talk show with Dr. Saggu. So I would like to, make a request to all the audience. Please join me tomorrow, IBM TV, 8:30. It's the Indian Standard Time, not the international.
Yes.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for joining, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was